Welcome back to the channel. We've got our fifth ranked matchup of this weekend's college football slate between Mississippi State and Kentucky. Getting into Kentucky's stats so far this year, offensively, they're averaging just over 26 points per game. They're throwing just over 260 passing yards per game, and they're coming in at 92 and a half rushing yards per game. Then defensively, they're giving up just over 16 points per game. We got a pretty stout passing defense when it comes to yardage allowed. They're giving up just under 175 yards per game through the air, and they're giving up just over 130 rushing yards per game. Mississippi State offensively, they're running the Mike Leach air raid offense. They're averaging 38 and a half points per game. They are throwing for just over 350 yards per game, and they're able to get just over 100 yards on the ground per game. Defensively, they're giving up about 21 points per game. Passing wise, they're giving up just under 220 passing yards per game, and they're giving up about 138 and a half rushing yards per game. Looking at the stats, Will Levis, I believe, is going to be playing. He's practiced all towards the end of this week, so he should be good to go. That'll be a big boost to Kentucky, and I mean, Mississippi State's offense is going to put up points. Their quarterback, Will Rogers, has been playing really well this season. As you can see, he's averaging about 350 passing yards per game. But going up against the Kentucky secondary and pass rush, it looks like that'll be the matchup to watch in this game if Kentucky can get a pass rush going and keep their DBs out of, 5, 6, 7, 8 second plays where they got to be in coverage. They should be all right. But if Mississippi State's able to control the pass rush of Kentucky, Will Rogers should be able to pick apart Kentucky's secondary. I don't know if he'll have 350 passing yards like he's been averaging, but he'll have more than the 175 that Kentucky is allowing if he's able to sit back in the pocket and he's got plenty of time. Um, Looking at the stats, though, I mean, Mississippi State's 4 point favorites. You got to kind of take Kentucky's stats with a grain of salt offensively because Will Levis hasn't played the last couple weeks. That with Will Levis, Kentucky was an undefeated football team that was ranked in the top 10. I don't know if they were worthy of that top 10 ranking, because I think it might have been just because of an SEC bias. But nonetheless, they are getting their starting quarterback back, and he's supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks taken in this year's draft. So that should definitely help them offensively. When it comes to the against the spread stats, Mississippi State's 4-1-1 overall. They've got four covers and one push, and as well as one game where they were not able to cover. They're 1-1 as the away team and 1-1 as an away favorite. Kentucky's 4-2 overall. They're 2-2 as a home team, and they haven't been a home underdog yet this season, so they don't have a record for that one. When it comes to the over under for these two teams, Kentucky is 1-5 in overs this season, and they're 1-3 at home, so they're hitting the under quite a bit. Mississippi State, on the other hand, is 4-2 in overs this season. However, this is an interesting stat. They're 0-2 on the road when it comes to hitting the overs, so they have gone under in both road games they've played in this season. So, taking a look at the point total for this game, it started at 47 and a half, and it's now moved up to 49. Not as high as or not as high as I thought it would be. I thought it'd be somewhere in the 50s. I mean, I think 49 points is kind of low, especially considering Kentucky should have Will Levis back, and Mississippi State's just run and gun offense, and they're not a big ball control offense. They're going to put points up if they're able to move the ball. So I would lean more to the over in this game. I know the records and the stats are saying, maybe the under is the play, but I think that line's kind of been adjusted based on the tendencies for these two teams, which is why I would definitely lean more towards the over. If that line does creep up into the low 50s, that maybe you look at, flirting with an under, but I definitely take the over if it stays at 49. Then the all-time series between these two teams is pretty even. Mississippi State leads this all-time series with a 25-24 record. They've got one more game than Kentucky does, and the home team in this meeting has won the last six matchups. So, if you were going to follow a trend, it would kind of tell you that Kentucky might win this game. But I mean, all trends are made to be broken, so you never know. Then, in terms of the line movement, the line opened up at 1.5 points, and it's now moved up to 4 as Kentucky's kind of stuttered here throughout the season, and Mississippi State's kind of firing on all cylinders after a loss early. But the point total, as I kind of mentioned, it started at 47.5. It's only moved up a point and a half. I could see that moving up a little bit more, but 71% of the public bets are on Mississippi State to cover. So overall for this game, if I had to make one for sure bet, I'd take over 49 points. I think Mississippi State does end up winning this game. I think they got too much momentum. I don't think they cover. I think it's like a field goal game. I think it'll be close. Um, but I'm not going to touch money lines or spreads when it comes to this game. I would just stick with the over 49 points. I think Kentucky's going to put up points on Mississippi State now that Will Levis is back, and Mississippi State's going to be throwing the ball all over the field. So the over in this game would be what I take.